Yeah, hi Vijay. Good
Hi
afternoon.
Vinay.
Yeah, good
Good afternoon.
afternoon. You're able to hear us?
Yes, I'm able to hear you.
Yeah, thank you for joining this meetup. To start with, this meetup has been organized by Sridhar and Ravi. They are the active members of Prestige Falcon City Entrepreneurs Group.
Hi
Uh,
Sridhar
Hey,
and hi Ravi.
thanks for
yeah,
accepting, Vijay. Thank you. Nice to have you here.
yeah, and
Same here. It's my pleasure.
these are the two active members who make sure that we all the members entrepreneur members here in Prestige actively meet and get engaged in this forum. And to all the members who have joined here, thanks for your time. Let me introduce our guest today. That's Vijay Arisetti. He is the co-founder and CEO of MyGate, an app that we all use so frequently every day, and we keep discussing on the app every day. So we know this app very well. Vijay has completed his BSc from National Defense Academy. He worked as a pilot in Air Force, and he completed his ISB MBA from ISB in 2010-2011. He has been awarded Shaurya Chakra for his exemplary work in rescuing the people during tsunami in 2004 from Andaman and Nicobar Islands. We'll probably hear about it from him at the end of this session. I'm sure if all of us were not muted, we would have given him a big hand for this. Nevertheless,
Can still
uh,
do.
and thanks, Vijay, for that act of bravery of yours. Uh, to give a brief history about MyGate, it has been started in 2016. It has grown phenomenally from then on. They raised about 2.5 million from Prime Ventures, probably seed fund before that. I'm not sure about that, but this was announced in January 2018. We'll hear more from it from Vijay. And then about 65 crores, about maybe 10 million in October 2018. And recently they raised last year about 56 million from Tencent and Tiger Global and Prime Ventures again. So as of today, they are in 10 cities. They manage about 4,000 communities, and 1 million households are using their apps every day. And they have validated about 200 million visitors till now in terms of entry and exit. Uh, these numbers can be more. These are some of the things that were published in 2019. This might have increased by this time. Definitely, Vijay will talk about that. Their growth has been so phenomenal that they were adding about 3 to 4 communities every month in 2017, increased 10 times in just 1 year to 80, and then another 10 times in the next year. And probably we're going to look at another 10x this year. So not only that, they were also phenomenal in providing all these KSP clear passes to the Karnataka State Police, which is again an exemplary work from MyGate, and I think we should all thank them for doing this great work. To start with, Vijay, do you want to correct anything that I said here?
Uh, Thanks, Vinay, for giving such a great intro. Uh, I think everything is right, except the number of communities and the number of households is actually double the number that you have spoken.
Okay, yeah, I
Yeah.
Otherwise,
expected
yeah,
that. At the rate at which you guys are growing, I don't think we can keep up with those numbers.
yeah, right.
So, I mean, as you all know, MyGate is a security as well as a community management firm. They have both the products, that the security part, which is of the visitors and entries and exits, and then the community management, which we are all aware of in our communities as well. But Vijay, I just wanted to ask you, like, what was the genesis of this whole thing? Like, was there an incident, or was it a personal experience that you went through, which made you start this, or you got this idea?
Yeah, I think this is a little bit interesting and also my personal experience, right? So, so I tell you, when 2014, right, or when I came out from the armed forces early 2011 after ISB came to Bangalore,
Mm-hmm.
the biggest the biggest thing, right? If my wife was worried was, we are coming out from the cantonment area to the civil world, right? Especially life for the families in the defense is really very good, right? Like my daughter used to go out to play on the road, and I know for sure that there is no vehicle that will be speeding up, and there will be no random person that is likely to disturb us, or I should be worried out, right? So these are some of the important perks that we used to get it at the armed forces, and we were going to miss that the moment we were coming to the civil side, right? And I said to my wife that don't worry, we'll pick up some house in a gated community in Bangalore, and probably it should have all those privileges that we used to get, right? And then I I took up in 2010, early 2010. I took up a house in Daman district in Old Airport, right?
Okay.
And that was, I believe, the first gated community of Bangalore. And I thought that, things will be really very good there, right? But then when I hit the ground, it was, the reality was completely different than what we were expecting, right? But at the same time, right, just because it was gated, we used to pay so much of rent next to, Diamond district. If I go to Murgez Palia, I was getting the same size house at half the price, right?
Right.
So we all actually end up paying a lot of money. Like say, even each one of you guys, right? You bought a house in precious Falcon City, right? It is Falcon City only, right?
Yes, yes, that's right.
So I'm sure that each house must be not less than 1 CR, right? On an average, if you see, each house will not be less than 1 CR.
Yeah.
And we have purchased a property, probably it'll be for our lifetime, right? At 1 CR, which almost must have taken up close to 50% of your earnings till date. Right?
Yes. Yes.
And we give that the responsibility of the safety of that house to a security guard who is earning not more than 9,000 rupees, right? He doesn't have any incentive, he doesn't have any motivation to do that job properly, because 9,000 rupees, he's staying 9,000 kilometers or say 4,000 kilometers away from his home, staying alone, 10 people staying in one room, or away from their families and all those things. They're not at all incentivized and motivated to do their job properly. Right? That is one, right? Second, what we have seen is more and more, and again, right, when we were analyzing this market, right, when we felt that there is a need for this, right, we started doing the typical, B-school way of evaluating how big the market is, right? Then what we have seen is, more and more people in India, right, the public infrastructure, unfortunately, is not that great. And we all end up to select houses or residences where the private infrastructure is good. Like you get 24/7 power supply, electricity, like water, cleanliness, security. And that's the reason we all end up buying houses in this gated community.
I agree. Yeah.
Third, what we have seen is, in 2014-15, right, in India, e-commerce was booming. Like Flipkart was in the news of all these e-commerce companies like Swiggy, Zomato. Then we have seen, all these Pepper Tap and multiple other companies coming into this, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And now this number has been, amplified with all these delivery executives. Just to if Precious Falcon City has got 2,000 houses, I'm 100% confident that pre-COVID, at least 3,000 visitors used to come to this society on a daily basis, right?
Yeah.
And just imagine the security guards, if he has to even perform 3,000 calls to the residents that there is a guest at the gate, can I let him in? You have one intercom connection at the gate.
Right? It wouldn't have been a scalable product, right? It wouldn't have been a scalable solution, definitely. The conventional way of doing things.
Yes. So I'm coming to the thing of why we started mine.
Vijay, we are experiencing some audio breaks.
We would be right. So that means, hello. Yeah, are you able to hear me, right?
Yeah, there are some freezes, but then it's okay now. Yeah, okay. Got you back.
So 3,000 calls, 24/7 also you will not be able to perform. So that's the time you realize that you're not doing half the calls, right? Half the security is not being, met, right? Then third, what we have seen is every industry in India has gone through some technology transformation, right? whether you take it fintech or food tech, at insurtech or mobility, transportation, you name a sector that has gone through this transformation, right? Security is a $20 billion industry in India,
Yes.
right? It employs close to 10 million security guards, right? Even bigger than the railways, right?
Yeah.
Railways is supposed to be the biggest employer. Security is even bigger than that, right? Such a kind of industry had no technology, right? And that led us to the thought that why don't we build some simple, very simple technology, okay, which people can use it on a day in and day out basis. Right? And one of the other things, right, once the market, we have realized that the market is very good, we have a huge enough opportunity to address the problem.
Right.
But there are some other criteria we have put it in our kitty, right? One of the things that we were very paranoid or very anal about is people should use or people should face this problem multiple times a day, right? Let's solve that problem which people face multiple times a day. Let's take example. If you see Paytm, right? It's always the problem of you paying money multiple times a day. You go and transact, you buy something at a stock print, you buy something here, there. So they feel that, okay, there is a multiple use case and you feel that the brand and the product has been done. If you see Swiggy, right? You eat food multiple times a day and you need this product multiple times. You see Ola, Uber, you go to multiple places a day, so you would want this kind of transportation multiple times. And that was one of our litmus tests that, let's do, let's solve problems that are faced by users multiple times a day.
Okay.
And the corollary that we give at MyGate is, at MyGate, right, what we see is, people, 3 or 4 visitors come to your house every day. Your calling bell rings 3 or 4 times a day. And we said that how can we get this entire experience, the calling bell experience, right from the main gate of your society to your residence in a seamless manner, right? In this, while doing this, we ended up giving a lot of efficiency and a lot of transparency and a lot of convenience to all the people who are transiting through the gate. Okay? And that's how the concept of MyGate is.
I know that's really good. Did it really start as a product, or was it more like let us do it something that works for our apartment, or was it like?
No. We started off with a product like
The product. Okay.
Yes, we know that there are 150,000 gated communities in India, and all the problems that we are facing here are being faced by a lot of other Southeast Asian countries in a differing format, right? But the same problem is being faced. So we said that let's go attacking this problem. But yes, we started off with one community, and then my own community. We started off. Best thing was I stood at the gate and understood the problem and tried to solve it via my own community.
Yeah, I've actually heard that you and Abhishek actually worked as security guards for 3 months. What was the reason for that? I mean,
if you see 2014-15, right? Smartphone adoption at the security guard level was, it was not at all late, right?
Yeah.
It was 5 years. That same itself, there were 5 years behind that. So when we are building products to be used by security guards, we wanted to understand exactly how to build the product, right?
Okay.
And what should be in the product. And for us to understand that, because we had to spend to get all the use cases covered, we had to spend there so much of time to understand the problems in detail, right? The more we spend time at the gate, the more simplified the product is now.
Actually, here in this group, there are people who are entrepreneurs, who are double-time entrepreneurs, and there are also guys who would want to become entrepreneurs, right? So what is your advice come to them? Like, because from what you have experienced yourself, is that hands-on experience, is it very important for a given domain? And I have also seen your co-founders, they share either employment or, some past history with you. So
Yeah.
maybe ISB, or I don't know where you met them. Maybe you can, how important is that? If you can throw some light on that.
See, I think, I read somewhere, must be on YouTube or right? 90% of the startups fail because of co-foundership.
Okay.
Right? 90%, right? And capital is second,
Okay.
right? But 90% is because of co-foundership, right? This is, I think, the most important thing. you might as well, and this is I'll tell you, one thing is, okay, co-founder के वजह से 90% of the chance that I will fail, so let me not have a co-founder, right? The moment you don't have a co-founder, then only it reduces by 10 more percent, right? 80% chances are still there for you to fail if you're building products for scale, right? If you don't want, like, if you want to build a local, like, family-run business kind of thing, you can do it alone.
Maybe
But
a lifestyle employment.
Lifestyle business, we can do it on alone. But if you're thinking of building a business at scale, you need to have at least 2 co-founders, right? And I'm telling you, even today, right, we are 3 of us. We still, like, we would say that, one more person probably would have been better for us.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, unfortunately, recruiting co-founders is not that common, right? I mean, yeah.
Yes. So see, you have to spend a lot of time understanding your co-founders. Right?
Exactly. So from your co-founding team, what was that core skills that you thought really helped you guys to win this and have brought you guys so far, and so fast? In fact, I would say phenomenal growth in 4 years. What was that core skills you think helped you?
I think all 3 of us, right, we come with complementary skills, right?
Okay.
If you see, when I started off, right, I just had the idea and, the problem statement was exciting enough. And we know that this is a real problem, we should solve this problem. Once that was established, then, I know that I had in my mind that this is not going to be an operations product, this is going to be a tech product, right?
Right.
So I needed to have a tech co-founder, right? And, in desperation, when you're in desperation, that idea has sab kuch hai, you have initial capital to start, then you end up, anybody who knows technology more than you,
Okay.
right? You end up going and, getting that person. So one of the litmus tests that I had was, when I tell about this idea, if that person is not questioning me enough, that means he's not smarter than me, right? So this was one of the very core things that I had, right? He had to question me so much that I'm cornered to answer him, right? And I spoke to multiple people before I hitting my, finger on Shreya, right? It's like, I spoke to person X, explained him, oh, very nice, exciting idea, let's start, right? The moment they used to tell like that, that means he's not adding any value to me. He's only saying yes to me, right? And when I went to Shreya for, discussing this, he was the one, we had almost 3 hours discussion, right? Trying to corner me in all this. And in that conversation, there are more interesting things that came up, right? And that's the time I felt that, I really enjoyed the conversation with him, right? And I felt that he's able to amplify the thought process that I had, right? And that basically is very important when you're getting your co-founder. And all these people that I'm meeting, right, all of them I knew for some considerable amount of time.
That's
right. It is not that I just went to some, event, your story event, and all these things, and trying to look for co-founders. Right. It was with people with whom I had considerable amount of interaction, having understood how they work and how strong they're in terms of technology, what is their, all those things. After doing all those things, that I used to speak to multiple people. Right. And that's how Shreyans, when we spoke, he also got excited. All the discussions that we had, and then he said, I'm in with you on this, right? And that's how I got Shreyans, right? And third, what is, in India, what I've seen, right? Pure tech is somehow not a very exciting thing, pure tech, right? There are very few companies with pure tech they can do that, right? Somehow the reason is, in India, if you throw a stone, you get technology guys anywhere. Pure tech as an idea, you cannot differentiate yourself, and you cannot, get a huge market in India, right? Yes, if you're solving problem for outside of India, yes, technology still makes sense. If you're solving problem for India, pure tech will not make sense, right? And in MyGate also, we realized that, pure tech in India doesn't make sense, and a lot of people will not even understand. All the stakeholders will not understand, and there's a huge operational element that is involved in this business. And that's how I knew that Abhishek, who was 5 years with me in Goldman Sachs, right? I knew his operational capability in terms of executing things, right? And when I sounded this idea with him, we actually had a courtship for almost 3-4 months. Every weekend I used to go, right, and explain him the product and the status and all those things. And that's how he got excited, and he also got into the company,
Okay.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. So as you told, right, it's more like a technology, but then that's not differentiating enough, right?
Yeah.
So how did you make your product sticky in a sense? What was that go-to-market strategy that helped you get the scale? Because unless it is sticky, you can't really get the scale, right? What was the moat basically?
So as I told you earlier, right, the one of the things even before we built the product was the number of times the people need to use this product. That was very well established.
No,
As I
but
told
because
you,
sorry, let me qualify the question. Like what I mean to say is there are other products like maybe Apna Complex or Adda and all these things, right? So when you compare, people would compare, right? Like what was that bargaining chip that you had with the communities, and, right? Like that made your product more sticky and
see, I think there was nobody in the market that was solving the problem of the key.
okay.
Right? If you see all the other companies that you spoke, right, they were born 2009-10, right, during the desktop era, and they were centered around the management committee. They were helping management committees how to efficiently run the society, right? But what we said is we don't want to build a B2B business, right? We wanted to build a B2C business. So our product actually, if you see, why are you all you guys using? Because it is solving your personal problem, right? And it is solving your problem, that personal problem, multiple times a day, right? That was, I think, one of the, and we came in the mobile era, right? The problems at the gate, nobody smelled the problems at the gate, right? We smelled the problems at the gate. And 2014-15, as I said to you, the traffic that was coming into the community was also increasing. So I think all these three things, right? Having smelled the opportunity. Second is, being in the mobile era. Third is the B2C spin. And fourth is, in terms of very, very great service element, right? Because Gate involves multiple stakeholders. It includes your visitors, it includes your domestic health, it includes your, delivery executives, it includes your visitors, and it includes your security staff, it includes the management committee, it includes the residents. So multiple touch points are very, very dynamic process. Unless you think about this completely, you will not be able to plug all the gaps. I think this 3 months of our standing at the gate gave us insights about all these things, and we tried to plug in each one of them. And even today, right, we have addressed our, all the stakeholders at various, degrees, right? If you see the security guard, we try to address this problem 80%. If you see the residents, we try to address the problem to 70%. If you see the management committee, we try to address the problem 60%. There's a long way to go again now, right? So all the problems have not been addressed, but yes, we have touched all the stakeholders and tried to, create value for each one of them during this process.
I mean, I'm very, not very surprised because knowing you, you kind of say that, yeah, it's 60% to 70% and not like 90%, 80%, right? So that probably gives you a lot of runway also to grow and scale. I mean, that attitude. I personally also heard, I had the opportunity to meet you personally, and you also helped us with my other venture, and yeah. So, I mean, you told me personally that you never approached VCs yourself, and it was you always had the VCs coming behind you.
Yes.
Do you want to share anything on those, like the way you shared with me? There are more entrepreneurs here. Probably it's the right forum for you to kind of.
See, I'll tell you something. I hope there is no VC here.
There may be, but they're all friends and they're all in the group. Yeah.
Okay, fine. And the reason, even if there is VCs, if there is anybody, and let me know if you disagree with me, right? After this, right? If you see an entrepreneur versus VC, right? All the entrepreneurs who are looking out for money, right? Who are looking out for funding, they always feel that they are at the receiving end, right? But actually, the dynamics is very different. the VCs, like for you, right, you just started your business, right? You put in your personal time, you put in your personal energy, and you came out with the product, right? You're just 1 year into the journey of the product. You basically wasted 1 year of your life, and a few of your co-founders and other team members also probably have spent 1 year in this product. Right? But if you see a VC, he's already gone to his limited partners and he's already raised 100 million, right? His neck is always on the anvil to deploy that money. He is more interested to make interesting deals than the entrepreneur trying to show an interesting deal, right? So what I'm saying is, the law is such that the VCs will chase you. Basically, in theory, the information, there's so much of information asymmetry. Entrepreneurs think that I need to be on the best form, but in reality, the VCs are the ones who are always chasing entrepreneurs, right? So remember this, it is very difficult to digest, but it is always the VCs who are, chasing the entrepreneurs because they're already committed, right? They have to give a return to their investors in 7 years, 8 years time. They have to deploy that capital. Once they deploy that capital, the company has to grow to give them 100x, right? If they don't deploy, then they will not be able to give that 100x. So it's in their own best interest to, invest in good companies, right? But that doesn't mean that they will invest in any company, right? What happens is there are, like if you see your sales guys, right? What will you tell your sales guys? I want you to perform 10 calls a day, and 2 will tell that, okay, come and meet me, and 1 will get converted. So your funnel is 10:2:1, right? Every day, what you'll do, you'll ask your sales side at the end of the day, like, kitna calls hua, kitna meetings hua, kitna conversions hua. This is your number, right? Similarly, a VC has also got that same job. How many startups are you meeting? How many startups have you evaluated? How many have you met? And how many deals did you do? They are supposed to report this to their LPs every month. That is their monthly MIS, right? So the math here is they evaluate 10 startups, right? They meet you over Zoom or all these things. They'll ask you, send me your deck and all those things. Those are 10 startups. 2 of them will go and meet them, right? Till the IC level. When I say meet, it is not one meeting, multiple meetings will happen. And 1 of them will get the change, right? So 8 of them are actually eliminated. So a VC requires 8 names to be eliminated. So what he'll do is, he will give you a call the moment your company registers, and he'll hear something about you. There will be an analyst whose job is to call up to you and tell him, yeah, we are excited about what you're doing. Please send me the deck. We want to understand your business, the opportunity, and if possible, we'll read that out, right? And what this will do is, oh, somebody, Sequoia has reached out to me. Let me put everything aside, make a pitch, and all these things, and you'll go and sell everything there, right? Without realizing that probably you're too early in the game to go and meet a startup like Sequoia. Your aim should be the 2 companies, not the 8 companies, right? Go and meet any VC the moment you feel that you're going to be in the 2, not the 8, right? And to get to the 2, inherently you will know, yeah, the moment you're afraid of meeting a VC, right? You know that you're not ready. Let's not go and meet them. As of now, I'm not ready to, show them the product. What they will do is they'll listen to you and they'll say, okay, good job done. Let's stay in touch, right? We should not land up in that situation, right? So always make sure that you have the product running, few people paying to you, and when VCs come, like say, for example, when VCs come, I never used to meet them, right? Especially when the analysts reach out to you. The moment analyst is reaching out to you, that means that I'm going to be in the 8, right? The chances of being in the 2 are just 20%, right? So I didn't want to, any time analyst reaches out, I'll not respond, right? The moment your business is exciting and he's hearing good things, right? That is the time the partner will write an email, right? Go and meet the partner, right? But no PPT, nothing. It is, you should understand what is he going to give you, right? Because as I said to you, in theory, he is actually struggling more than you to give you money, right? So you should ask him, why should I take money from you?
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And to reach to this level, right, you will have to do a lot of hard work.
Of course.
In MyGate, what happened is we were very clear that we have to be very concentrated in the business that we do. We didn't spread ourselves too thin across, like say, for example, so many communities in Bangalore. Let me go to North Bangalore, South Bangalore, East Bangalore, West Bangalore. We were limited people, me and my co-founders, right? We were the only two sales guys, we were the only two operations. We realized that let's catch one road. When I say one road, it is like the Green Glen layout. We caught one road, 10 communities. Out of 10, we made sure that 5 of them are using our product. Then we went to Sarjapur Road, right? I'm telling you roads, right? I'm not even telling you pin codes. We went to Sarjapur Road, 40 communities. We made sure that 8 of them are using our product. And when what happens is, people keep visiting each other's community and they start seeing some best practices here and there. They say that why don't we have this in our community, right? And that's how we made sure that at least 20 to 30% of the people in one particular road are using the product. And that is the time we go to the next road, right? So what happened is in 5 months time, or I think 4 months time, from Bellendur area, we reached towards Whitefield. So Prime Ventures, all the 3 partners stay in 3 different communities, and all 3 of them started seeing MyGate in their community in 4 months time period, right? And that's how they thought that, yeah, what is this startup, right? And so quickly, all 3 of us are using this app, right? Let's meet them up and try to understand what they do, right? Then again, as somebody reached out, we didn't respond to them, right? Then they use their, again, some personal channels through, people whom we know commonly. They reached out to them and, they said, "Jaake ek baar mil lo," right? I went to them. I didn't have a pitch deck, right? I told them one thing, right? I will show you the product the way I sell it to my gated community. If you're convinced about it, let's talk and let's move on. If not, then thank you, right? We went there. I sold them the product the way I used to sell it to an MC, management committee, right? MC is management committee. And at the end of the meeting, it was Prime Ventures also tells that it was their fastest deal. I met them on a Monday and I got the term sheet on a Tuesday.
Oh,
right?
okay.
So they saw that we understood the problem inside out. We understood the space inside out. And we were not planning to make it a lifestyle business. And we were wanting to scale up the business, right? And it is not that in our words we started telling all this. The way we thought about the product, the way we have displayed the product, and the way we have built the product, all these things came out in the conversation, right? And that's how they invested.
Yeah, I mean, this is the exact story that I heard from you personally, and I wanted, the forum members also to hear from you directly. And yeah, thanks for that. Now the question about what Sridhar had asked, like you have raised 56 million recently from Tencent and Tiger Global and also from Prime Ventures. So what is it? Is it, I mean,
so Vinay, we have not raised, they have given us.
Okay.
Right, again, I'll tell you my Series A and the Series B. Both of them happened by those people coming in.
Okay. So you didn't really go to them. They actually came and gave you the money.
Yes.
Right? So what do you want? Okay, let me ask you in the way, right? The right way. So what do you plan to do with that money? I mean, how do you want to scale? Is it like the 20,000 communities that you plan to be part of? I know that you are also working now outside India, right? You have some plans of going outside India. Is that, yeah, maybe you can just tell us about it.
Yeah, see, actually, if you see, right, the product, like a lot of people think that, such a simple product, why do they require 56 million, right? Actually, if you see the most simple product, most difficult to execute in scale, right? WhatsApp, is there any product simple than that? But it required 10 years time for them to reach to a stage that they're now wanting to monetize that. Even now they're not monetizing, right? The more simple you make a product, right? Any additional thing also has to be simple only. It should not complicate the product. So the thought process, the technology thinking, and the design thinking that goes into a product, right? You really require deep thinking and really smart people to address this problem, right?
Mm.
And getting talent to build really simple products is the most difficult thing, right? I think in India, talent, like, we earn in rupees but spend in dollars, right? So talent is very expensive, right? So it really requires us a lot of capital, because we are building this product for close to 100 million users, right? And all these 100 million users for us are SECA, highly educated people, and who have very, very high demands from the product, right? And to meet to those standards, and to and for this, right, everything that we do needs to get reflected, right? Right from the way we hire our salespeople, the operations folks, the product folks, the technology folks, everything is reflected in that, right? So it requires a lot of effort and a lot of culture mapping, and getting people of the same DNA. It requires a lot of effort, right? And I always say that making simple products and scaling simple products is the most difficult thing in this world.
Yeah, I mean, I hope we'll see more of MyGate, not just in India, even outside. But then, would security and community be the part of this, or would it go beyond it? Like, for example, I heard just in February 2020, Nestaway bought, that Apna complex, and so there is some consolidation there, right? So, and I also noticed one other thing that you actually did for the COVID, right, here in with the Karnataka State Police. Was that a one-off thing, or do you see any other bigger play there?
I think that was a one-off thing, right? Since some of the police commissioners, right, who were staying, some of them were staying in gated communities, which was using MyGate, right?
Right.
And one day before the national lockdown, right, 21-day lockdown was announced. Some of them, they felt that the pass system in Bangalore can only be solved very quickly by this company, right? That's how they approached me, right? We did it this one as a pure sense of patriotism. We had
Right.
the technology, and we said that let's do it for the government, and you don't get these opportunities quite often, right? And that's how we just took that opportunity and did it for the customer. And but this is a one-off case, right?
Yeah. I think I have asked sufficient questions. I would want any other members who would have some questions. Maybe we can either go by raise of hands so that you know I can unmute and you can go ahead with the question. You know how to raise of hand, right? Go to click on participants, and then there is a raise your hand. Yeah, I have. Yeah, Ranjan, go ahead. Ranjan.
Yeah, hi Vijay. I was just going through your product. Is this only for gated communities, or you are actually also having any plans to open it up for open communities where the resident welfare associations are pretty strong, and they sort of manage the for the entire layout?
See, I think the product is existing, right? Anybody can use it, right? If it is meeting the requirement, and a lot of in Delhi, a lot of that layout, right? They're also using this. Right?
Yeah, we have the next question, Nagarajan.
Yeah, thank you, Vijay, for that wonderful description. Just wanted to ask you whether your application MyGate is suitable for smaller apartment complexes, because I thought the business model is more like you gave examples of large communities. Is that correct understanding, or is that different?
No. It is. So our wherever there is a gate, right? MyGate can be used. Like, we actually not only for large, we do it for small communities, we do it for corporate, houses, we do it for SEGs, we do it for front desk operations, multiple places we are doing, right? So our whole thing is wherever there is a gate, MyGate can be deployed.
Yeah, I think I saw MyGate even in your office entrance, and I guess it can be used even at co-working spaces, right? Going forward. Yeah, Deepak, you can go next.
Yeah, thanks. Hi, Vijay. So, Vijay, my question's not specific to MyGate, but slightly on your journey. So, in today's context, whenever there is a need for a technology to be built with a fresh idea, there's always this debate of build versus buy. So, just want to understand your views and thought process around it.
So I'll give you two examples, Deepak. I think that will help you answer this question, right? Help me answer this question. So one example is I would give is about like say for example Salesforce, right? Salesforce is a pure tech product, right? It is solving a specific problem. You just invest more and more on technology, and the product will be done, right? And fortunately, Salesforce was born during that time where not many people understood technology, right? And technology was not easily available, right? And that's the time they built it and they distributed it very strongly. Like today, if you see Microsoft, Salesforce, and Google, Amazon, the way they have gone into people's life, right? To build any technology product on top of that is very easy for those guys, right? If you the example I say is Slack versus Microsoft Teams. Right? Slack, for all the good work and hard work they have done, they've got to a considerable size. And when Microsoft Teams came, right, within a year's time, they had to more than 2 times of Slack system, right? So that's the power a technology-led company gets, and especially the ones who are already established, right? The problem with if you see new companies, like for example, if you create any new product, right? That is a slight extension to the already existing product, right? Then it's very difficult for you to succeed, right? You may succeed if your distribution is faster than anything. Like Zoom is a classic example, right? Zoom also built very nicely, and they distributed it so fast in such a short span that they became now $100 billion company. On the other hand, if you are a company like a BigBasket, or a company like PureFit, right? If you see their business, the primary business is selling groceries and vegetables to end users. Technology here is an enabler. So, in my view, to compete with the likes of BigBasket and PureFit, right? Technology is not going to be a differentiator, right? It is only enabling business. So if you see my opening statement, which I told, right, in India, somehow I've seen that a pure tech play is very difficult, like because technology is today build versus buy. The moment you're able to buy a technology, right, Deepak can buy the technology, so Vinay can buy, I can also buy, and Sridhar can also buy. The moment I see you becoming successful, little bit, like I see you 10 consumers, getting 10 consumers, Vinay will also buy this, Vijay will also buy this, and Sridhar will also buy. So you'll have 4 competitors the moment you raise a seed funding, right? So that is the reason I don't find so much of meat in your tech product where you can buy the technology, right? You need to have some of your IP. If you don't have that, then yes, you may buy some technology. Like for example, in MyGate, we have some other technology for us to basically our product is something else. But I use some technology like, a CRM management or a lead management and all those things. Those are the ones which I buy. They're helping me, they're facilitating me to do my business, right? But they are not my business.
Got it.
You're getting the point, right? If you are wanting to buy something, that should not be your business. That should facilitate you.
Yes, Viresh, Sahukar Viresh.
Hi Vinay, hi Vijay.
Yeah, hi.
I've known MyGate for a long time now, and initially when I saw MyGate, I really felt that this is going to change most of the problems of gated communities and their security. But Vijay, how in the aftermath of COVID, would you change your authentication policy? See, from the time I have been seeing, somebody comes as Amazon delivery, but then he would have come as some other delivery into some other gated community. Is your it database coordinated to an extent that these people can be filtered, and in the aftermath of COVID, his residential address and things can be captured so that we can make it more secure?
So let me answer this, right? There is some emotional element also onto this, and there is a, whatever you're saying, there is a practical element also, right? Actually, today, if you see MyGate, right, the number of users who are there inside the gate are just 2 million. But the number of users who use MyGate outside the gate are close to 40 million, right? Now, the way we are looking at this problem. So when I build this product, what is the thing that I have promised the people who stay inside community? I promise them that I will make sure that no unwanted people come inside the community, and I will give you the right kind of security, and I will make sure that your guards are, efficient and making the process convenient. These are the things that I have promised you, right? But what happened now is, I now have other users also, right? Like a lot of times, people tell that, I want my maid's temperature to be known. My maid is wearing a mask or not. My maid is coming from a green zone or red zone. Without you giving them the information that you have not gone to the red zone yesterday, right? Are you disclosing? If you see today, right, how did this whole thing come into the Indian community? It's like you and me have traveled abroad or met people who have traveled abroad and got these things inside, right? Today, there is a huge amount of unrest in the blue collar segment. That why should I be penalized and why should I be made ashamed because of the sin done by somebody else? They're asking me my temperature. Are they showing the temperature to me? Right. So it becomes very difficult for a company like us to address both these problems. Right. So what we tend to remain away is, I wanted to address your security problem. I will not compromise on that. So what we are doing is, if you see, right, in delivery boys, right, this whole ecosystem, the attrition is close to 20 to 30% month on month. Means a delivery boy who comes to you, very high probability that in 3 months' time he will not succeed. He will go back to his hometown, right? So it becomes very difficult for us to keep updating their information on a real time. So that is the reason. What we have done is, companies like Swiggy and Zomato, right, and all these other e-commerce companies, we have integrated with them. When I say integrated, what it means is, you place an order on one of these platforms. These platforms are going to tell me that, Vijay, I'm going to send delivery boy Abhishek to deliver something at flat, B703, that is in, Prestige Falcon City, right? You make sure that B703 is actually expecting an order, and you pass that message to the security guard. That is the time what we do is, when we receive the ping from them, we send out a notification to the end user that, are you really expecting a delivery from this guy? If you say yes, we transmit that information to the security guard. Once that happens, the information that we got directly from the e-commerce company, that this is the delivery boy who is background verified and who we do all the checks for him at our listing. They're doing the checks and giving us that information, and we are making sure that the right person with the right parameters is getting inside the company. So we are not compromising on our listing, but we are trying to, all these guys, right? If you see the true warriors of COVID, or all these guys who are on the road giving services to us, right?
Yeah.
And I feel that they also should be, respected. Not, if not respected, at least not be humiliated, right? Tell me your temperature. Tell me where are you coming from. Tell me your mask dhula hua hai ya, आपने 10 दिन से पहना हुआ. All these things are only going to ridicule them, right? And we should not, get into that direction. So I think this is a very delicate balance, right? We have to, have to make sure that the ecosystem is functioning.
Why I asked this question?
Actually, Viresh, I think we can give, there's a lot of other hands up.
Oh,
This
sure.
is an emotional question, and I think personally, see, for example, we have also not brought in maids, but we have paid them money, and I don't want them to come to my home right now, because it's not only we can also spread it to them, right? So let us take this offhand and like, right? I mean,
Yeah, sure. Perfect. Thank you.
thanks, Viresh. Sunita, sorry, do you have 5 more minutes, Vijay?
Yeah, I have time.
Okay, thank you. Sunita, can you go ahead with your question?
Yeah, hi, this is Nagendra. I'm using my wife's computer.
Okay. Hi, Nagendra.
Yeah. So, hi Vijay. It was very nice hearing how your company was started and your journey, and I know how successful it has been. It's a very exciting journey, right? So one thing I just wanted to know was, what were some of the things that would keep you up at night, and what did you do to overcome or get past those worries?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think Ravi also had a similar question. Yeah.
See, I think, at various stages, right, various things keep you awake, right? When, initial days, when we were building the product, chalega, nahi chalega was keeping me awake. And, this I had no control, right? Chalega, nahi chalega is, to your best of your knowledge, you make the product and it could have worked and, or it could not have worked, right? This is one thing that was keeping me awake, right? And, all those days I used to feel that initial days, right, when, we were building the product, I was actually feeling that, I'm running on a treadmill. I want to run faster, but the treadmill was not moving fast, right? So that was what was keeping me awake at night during that time. Then slowly we got, when we were scaling up, right? When you're scaling up, attracting talent, right? No company, like, there is nothing I could have explained some of the people and existing or comparable product that existed elsewhere, right? I was only had to, tell them the vision and sell them the product. And, those days attracting talent was the next big problem. That used to keep me awake at night, right? Then comes, you get to a large team, right? You become so large then that, actually today if you see, right, the problems that I'm solving is not at all related to the product. I'm solving the problem of how to build organizations at scale, right? How do you make sure that you have 10 different teams in 10 different locations, and some of the team members you have not seen, how are they speaking your own language? How are they, treating the client the way you want to treat the client? Having those checks and balances of, always getting to know the culture and DNA of the company is very, very important, right? So when you're thinking about products, right, I would say that you should fast forward, 4 or 5 years into the journey, right? Actually, the way you guys are talking to me, I actually go to a lot of founders who are, who are more established, right? Unicorns and all this, right, to talk to them. So few of them, right, when I talk to few of them, I realize that, the second time founders, right, they have faced all these problems. And from the day one, they thought about how this company is going to be 5 years from now. And I try to have all those things into the company's DNA and hiring philosophy, manifesto of the company, culture of the company, what are the values of the company from day one. Then what happened is they were able to scale up much, much more faster, right? So if you see, example is Myntra. Myntra, whatever stage it came to, it took them 8 years, right, to come to the stage when they sold it off to, Flipkart. And they sold it off to Flipkart at, I think, around $400 million, right? The same founders built CureFit in less than that time. They built the, second company, CureFit, in, much more shorter time with much more stronger foundation principles, right? So the lesson learned here is you should extrapolate the problems that you're likely to face when your product becomes successful, right? Your product becomes successful, you'll have to hire more salespeople, more people will keep using the product. You need to make sure that the salespeople are in sync with what you wanted to sell. You need to make sure that the people whom you're selling the product are getting the right experience. You need to make sure that your hiring is in the right place so that your growth is, in place. All those problems will start coming, right? So in day one itself, you should start thinking about how this company will be 4 years from now. Otherwise, what will happen is you will not select the right co-founder, right? You don't know whether this co-founder will be able to scale up beyond a certain stage. when you're building a company, you see that, okay, yaar, mujhe technology chahiye, and this guy is good in technology, let me get it, right? But he may not be the right co-founder for you to scale up this company beyond a certain stage. Is he able to train people? Is he able to coach people? Is he able to mentor people? Is he able to attract talent to come into your company? Is he able to think future about the business, right? So all these things are, at various stages, various things keeping you awake. And and to be honest, you will stay awake at night, right? Whatever you do, all this gyan that I'm giving you, you will get, to some of it you'll execute it, and some of it will be the new things that you will learn, and that will keep you awake at night. So an entrepreneur's journey is a 24/7 journey, and it's a lonely journey, right? So you need to sign up for that.
Yeah, actually, that's a good question.
Thanks a lot, Vijay. That was really very insightful. Thank you so much.
In fact, whether we are losing sleep for the right things, that's what matters, I guess.
Yeah.
We had a similar session with Mr. Pradeep, our own, is resident of PFC in the last meetup. Pradeep, and he's also a veteran. I mean, and he has done all this management. He does a lot of management consultancy to Amazon and Infosys, and right. I may not be the right person to intro him. Pradeep, you want to come in?
Yeah. Yes, I had one, probably the last question. Right now, we seem to be at the lowest point in our economic history, with the lowest GDP and things like that. The next year, the estimates are talking about 8.5% GDP overall. What I want to know from Mr. Vijay, is what is your prognosis for your industry? Is it likely to grow at, let's say, 15-20%? I'm asking about the industry, and if you want to share your idea for your company as well.
Yeah, so I think I'm not sure if that 8.2% for the next year is still a reality.
That's I agree.
Right, but what generally we have seen in history is whenever economy is not doing well, there are more security challenges, and when there are more security challenges, there is a more, I think we have to do a much better job and much more hard work to make sure that we are able to solve the, fallouts of all such kind of, economic troubles that people face, right? I think the security industry per se will have a lot of requirements and a lot of problems to be solved, but I'm not sure if the problems will be solved in the same way as they were being solved till date, right? I think that is what we need to figure out, right? And I think, I'm just telling all these things on a first principle thinking basis, right? A lot of it may be wrong, but, this is what I feel that things will happen. But there is a lot of uncertainty in the way the problems will be solved, right? Because, if you see the thing, right, earlier, whenever there was economic, disruption, there were a lot of, crimes happening, as a result of which more and more security guards or more and more security need to be deployed. But today, the problem is such that the security guards are the first ones, right? If you see again their, demography, right? They're all coming from 4,000, 5,000 kilometers away from their hometown, away from their families, and earning 8,000, 9,000 rupees, right? Is it incentivizing enough for them to stay here during this crisis? So what we are seeing is already 40% of the security staff have moved back to their hometown.
Yeah.
And the other statistic that I give is, in India, the security guarding is a pit stop, right? And it's a pit stop. It is like when people come, before they get their actual job, right? Whether it is, being in a beauty parlor or, teaching guitar or, working for a restaurant or setting up their own business, right? They use this as a parking spot. That when they come down, this is the first job that they get easily, right? And today, since all the other job opportunities have dried up, right? So people will stop coming here. So the parking spot will also be empty. So half the people have gone, and the next set of people who are supposed to come will also not come in, right? When both these things are happening and the economy going down, and you start seeing more crimes happening, so there's so much of balance, right? Imbalance that is going to get created. So we need to come with more innovative, solutions to solve this problem.
Yeah, thanks. This is what I guess Sridhar calls it as the VUCA world, right, in his page. I have two more questions here. The next question is Prashant.
Hi Vijay. So thanks for spending your time. I wanted to ask one question. So how do you see it now that you have funding, right, and MyGate is established? So do you guys think about building a product which is adjacent to what you have, maybe like say management, a tech for managing the gate in events like sports events or music concerts where like tens of thousands of people come with the ticket, and I think even now people use with a paper and the barcode scanner, right? So does it make sense to pivot like that, or do you want to continue with the product that you have and keep improving the same product? Like in more generic terms, I would say in a startup or in a product, like is it good to build adjacent products to create more revenue streams, or concentrate on what is your strength and build on what you have already?
So I would stick to my strengths and build on to what we are doing, right? Instead of spreading myself to other opportunities at this stage, right? I think if you see the typical management books suggest you to do what you're saying, right? But as an entrepreneur with limited capital, limited resources, limited time, you can only do few things good, and you should only continue to do those few things, right? So we will also continue to do the same thing till a critical mass of all our views, critical mass of the target segment are onto mine.
Yeah, so basically you saturate the market and then move on, right?
Yeah. And otherwise also, like, so Prashant, to your question, right, there are no events going to happen for next 18, 24 months.
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
Yeah, Parul, maybe Parul is the last question I have, I guess. Yeah. Parul, do you want to ask a question? I think it's written here. Do you have teams doing competition tracking? And do you have a separate team for innovation? As in case of MyGate, competition is lesser, but surely important to keep track and innovate constantly. Surely required to keep the company one notch up. I'm sure even this Nestaway bot, there will be some competition up here.
So this is a very interesting question, right? And I think we very consciously think about the user, right? I'll tell you some of the things that people make mistakes is they do too much of competition research, right? And they try to build competing products to the competition, right? What if the competition is doing the wrong research and building the wrong product, and you end up doing the same thing again, right? If you put user first, right, think about your end consumer, right? Build 200 things for him rather than building 20 things to compete with the competition, right? So I always my co-founder who is in the operations, right, who is running the sales and the operations for the entire team, he keeps telling me a lot about competitors, right? And I told him that don't tell me, right? Don't tell me all these things. You keep with you, right? Let me think about the product. Let me think about the user. I will give you so many features that your users will love it, right? Which your customers will love it. You don't have to worry about the competition. And that I can very proudly tell and very confidently tell that is a very strong, success for mantra for us, right? You just think about it, right? If my competitor is doing something, right? If I tried, like say, Nestaway is into the business of, I think they were into the business of renting out.
Rental, yeah.
Right? Now, if you see my competitor has got this thing, so should I go out into renting business, right? So renting is a completely different ballgame, right? And I would also tell my competitors, so if you're doing something else, don't try to compete with what I'm doing, because what I'm doing, 3 founders, 1,000 people thinking about this product, 24/7 for last 4 years, what will be my understanding about that space? Can anybody come into this space tomorrow or day after tomorrow and compete with me? He's actually making a mistake, right? So I feel that think about your users. Yes, be aware about your competitors, but think about your users first and build products for your users.
Yeah, that's a very good, confident question. Thanks for your time, Vijay. Sridhar?
Vijay, thank you so much. Vinay, you've been a fantastic host. Vijay, thanks for taking all our questions. I would ask Ravi to do vote of thanks. Ravi, could you just sum?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Thank you. Thank you, Sridhar. Thanks, Vijay. And thanks, Vinay. I think you discovered a new passion of moderating discussions. Fantastic
Always
job,
doing it,
Vinay.
it seems.
um, so,
Thanks.
Vijay, I'm not feeling shy, but I'm on a weak connection, so I'm preserving my bandwidth. So, not coming
Not a
on
problem.
video, but okay. But I hope you can hear me well, Vijay.
Yes,
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Thank you so much for coming to this community and sharing your wisdom. And not to really flabbergast you, but I think you are someone who visualized the idea. You are the product manager for the product. You build the product. You're still living and breathing the product. So from your thread one to the last final thread, we can see that passion and your experience around this subject matter. So thank you so much for coming and sharing that. I think few takeaways for me from this, from the sharing of your knowledge is that I think firstly, and maybe throughout this discussion, you were saying that focus on solving a real world problem. I think you kept it very simple, right? So it's not about expanding for the sake of expansion or expanding the product for the sake of it, etc. But keep one problem in front of you and keep solving it to the to the best you can. Then second takeaway for me is that I think it is easier said than done. You and your co-founders actually doing this role of security guards or maybe accounts clerks or whatever that may be, to actually put yourself into their shoes and understand the subject matter that much deeply to actually do the see how transactions are happening, analyze them, and then bring that knowledge into the product. I think it's phenomenal. The third takeaway for me is that about co-founders and how important it is to have a number of co-founders. It's not a lonely sport to be played, but it is a team sport, I guess, startup. So I think your message is very well taken that we should have right number of co-founders, and at the same time, we should not shy away from it. We should not be too passionate about our idea. I think we should have these bouncing boards, even if we differ with our co-founders, right? So that's another takeaway. I think the most important point for me from this talk today is the completely different spin you have given to raising money. I think all of us, maybe the 25 of us on this call today, will remember forever that it's not about raising money, but it's about inviting the money, or it's about making someone else open their purse and come looking for us based on the merit of our product. I think that's the most important takeaway for me. Then about scaling up, I think it is, all the money that we raise and how responsible we have to be with it, and, having the vision for the product and, taking it forward, so on and so forth, right? So scaling up is how important it is. So I think you have done your market analysis so well. So it's encouraging for us to hear from you, or directly the horse's mouth, right? So to hear about your journey. Um, Thank you so much for coming. We would love to have you in person at some point in time once both the gates and the minds are open, right? So that we can become more freer to move around. So thank you so much, Vijay, for coming. And thanks, Vinay, for hosting this and actually introducing Vijay to this community. And thank you, Sridhar, for orchestrating everything around this meetup today. So any closing remarks, Vijay, from you before we call it off for the day?
No, I thoroughly enjoyed, right? It gives me a lot of pleasure and satisfaction when I'm able to talk to my users, right? And I think it becomes very important to share the passion, and especially share the thought process that we have behind making such products, right? And the more I speak, I think I will have more, evangelists for MyGate. So, I think I'm also selfish here in terms of speaking to all the people. But I hope based on our experience, something probably will be useful for each one of you in your life.
Okay. Thanks, Vijay. Thanks everyone for joining the call today.
Sure.
Have a good day.
Thanks, Vijay. Thanks,
Thank you, Vijay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Sure.
Hey, thanks everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.